orienteer. You can tell by my special suit I wear. And I don't have my gaiters that go from my knees down that protect my lower legs, but I can pretty much run through briars without getting snagged from the waist down. So orienteering, it's the thinking sport. It uses map and compass skills, but it's also race against time. We have two formats in orienteering. One is the point-to-point course. That's where you start at the triangle, and then you do your points in order. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and you must do them in order. That is what we're going to be doing today. We are doing the point-to-point course. We also have another format called Scoro. We put a lot of points out there and give you a time limit to find as many as you can in no particular order. But today is the point-to-point, and you will have to do your points in order. If you can't find one and you find two, and you haven't found one yet, you can't punch two until you go back and find one first. If you punch out of order, you could be disqualified. So punch in order. Your strategy is going to be looking for the easiest, fastest way to go. And we call that a handrail. Oh, and Crawford Park has a wonderful handrail. I call it the cart path. It's this concrete path that runs all the way around the park, all through the park. So always be looking for that cart path. Try to find that. That's going to be the fastest, easiest way a lot of times. Now when you're on the white or yellow course, you're going to find there's going to be a handrail, a road, a trail, a path, or something that can lead you where you're going to go, and you want to be looking for that all the time. When you're on that linear feature, it's a really big advantage. Focus on course following rather than speed. You're going to be up in the start line. That horn's going to be going off. Beep, 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 beep. Everybody's going to take off running. If it's your first time, you might want to think about not taking off running. You're a lot better off to carefully navigate your way from point to point. Even in a big national meet, I'll go a little easy to number 1. Then as I get my confidence, I feel like I'm in tune with the map, I'm finding them right where I think they're going to be, that's when I start increasing my speed, and that's what I suggest for you too. Get 1, get 2. If you're feeling confident, that's when to turn on the burners and try to get some speed. Okay, these maps are specially made for orienteering. They're the most detailed and complete maps you're ever going to see. We didn't want to have to worry about the difference between true north, where Santa Claus lives, and magnetic north, where your compass points to. You know, they're not the same. So what we did was we made the map to magnetic north. So your compass and map work together perfectly. The top of the map's magnetic north. Your red arrow pointing to the top is what you need. So different colors mean different things on orienteering maps. And on your map today that you're going to get, it'll have a legend on there that tells what every little color and symbol means. The more you familiarize yourself with those colors and symbols, the better you'll be able to glean your information from your map and use that information to navigate your way around the course. But the basics here, black or man-made items, all the buildings, trails, paths, fences, anything man-made is going to be in black. And what you'll find is even these light poles out here, these are going to be marked as black X's. The little goal posts, everything out here is going to be on that map. So trust your map to be accurate. Now yellow on orienteering maps, it's different than most other maps. Yellow is where is open areas. Like these big fields back here would be mapped as yellow. Think about it as where the sun shines, where the sun shines. White is what we call open forest. That would be big trees with little or no undergrowth. And if you look all the way across the meadow there, you'll see those pine trees back there. That's mapped as white because there's no undergrowth in there and you can run right through. Now orienteers, we love that yellow and we love that white, but do we like that green? We hate that green. The darker the green, the worse it is. So if dark green's between you and where you gotta go, what are you gonna do? Go around it or try to find a trail through it. Don't try to penetrate in the dark green areas. Oh, and let me tell you, Crawford Park has got the worst dark green of just about anywhere. So that dark green is bad. Don't even try to go in there. Blue are water features and brown are earth features and also contour lines. Now these maps are topographic maps. They use contour lines to show the shape of the land. So that these hills will be shown by these lines where the lines are close together. It's where it's really steep. Now Crawford Park, where it's got a big flat area on the top where all the ball fields are, and then it drops off into the creek area where there's a whole lot of little gullies and re-entrants. So all the lines are down in there. There's hardly any lines up here on top. Which way is uphill or downhill? Always look for the water feature. Wherever the water is, it's uphill away from that water. Wherever the stream is, it's uphill away from that stream. Wherever the pond is or lake, it's uphill away from that lake. Now I skipped over this, but it's really important, and that's your distance. These maps are made to scale. So that most of y'all will have a little measuring scale on your compass. You can measure on your map between your points and then measure on the graphic scale that's on the map, and you can tell how far it is to the next point. That's a super big advantage for orienteers, especially if you know your pace count. Luckily, the scouts came out here earlier. Where are those guys? Raise your hand over here. Thank you for coming out early and setting up a 100-meter pace course. It starts right back over here. Let's walk back here. Oh, it starts over here. Get it in your mind though, how far is 100 meters? It's the length of a football field plus the end zone on one end. That'll be 100 meters. And the course starts right here, goes along the cart path until you find another post just like this one. Now when you're counting your paces, you want to do what we call a pace, which is 2 steps. 1, 2, you count every time your right foot hits. Because what foot do we start on? Start on your left foot, right? Unless you're not in the military, then you can start on your right foot. It's America. So, but if you're in the military, you better be starting on that left foot. Okay? And so, count your paces. Why don't we count every other step instead of every step? It cuts our math in half. That way, when you're trying to figure it in your head, the numbers are smaller and easier to figure in your head. So if you're a math whiz, though, go ahead and count every step. The rest of us, we're going to count every other. Let's go back to those posters. Y'all have time after the class to go and do your pace count. Okay, let's talk about orienting. Somebody got a compass I can borrow? Anybody got a compass? Oh yeah, let me see that thing. Okay, get it off there. You're all tangled up. Oh yeah, these are cool. Check this one out. It's got the little thing you look through. Got the little dolly thing. Whew, that's fancy. But we don't care about any of that. All we care about is that red arrow. Oh, green arrow on his. Most of y'all have a red arrow pointing to the north. That's all we need a compass for. Remember, in orienteering, map is primary, compass is secondary. So all we're going to use our compass for is really one thing, and that's to turn our map so that it's facing the right way. And so what we call orient our map, we're going to turn the map, we're going to lay the compass on the map, we're going to turn the whole map and everything until the red arrow points to the top of the map. When that red arrow is pointing to the top of the map, that means that map is oriented. Or I could say it another way, I could say it's laying the same way as the ground around me. So now that I've got my map oriented, I'm really through with the compass. Thank you for that. Now I'm looking at my map and this is the whole key of it right here. I'm looking at my map and I'm saying, okay, here's where I'm at right here. And I look over here and there should be a parking lot over here, and I see the parking lot and I see it on my map. And I see these ball fields and I see this fence. And that fence is on my map, and I see that fence, and I see the cart path. And I see that cart path going in, and I see that on my map. Now if you've been tuning me out till now, now's the time to listen. That's what it's all about. You're gonna be seeing things in the terrain. You're gonna be seeing the same thing on your map, matching what you're seeing to what's on your map. And that's how you're gonna navigate your way from point to point, finding your way, always knowing where you're at all the time. That's the key of it right there. Let's talk about your paperwork. You're gonna have 3 pieces of paper to keep up with. Your punch card, your map, and your clue sheet. So most of y'all already have your punch card, or you get that at registration. It's got little squares in there, and when you find your bag, here's what we're gonna be looking for. Control bag has a code number on it. You're gonna check that number to make sure it's the right one, and then you're gonna use this paper puncher to punch a unique pin pattern in your card. Now when you get to number 1, what square do you punch on your punch card? 1. Number 1. When you get to 2, what square?
2.
It's really easy. But that's the most important thing. If you don't punch in the right square, you're not going to get credit for it. There's also an R box on your card. That's your reserve box. If you accidentally mispunch the wrong punch, you can put the correct punch in the R box and still get credit. But you got to tell them that at the finish if you do that, because they won't pick that up automatically. Now let's talk about these maps. We already talked a lot about the map. The most complete and detailed map you're ever going to use, specially made for orienteering. Got all the colors and symbols. You need to try to learn those colors and symbols. Trust this map to be accurate. If you get to a fence and that fence is not on your map, what's that mean? You don't know where you're at because that fence is on the map. There's no fence out here that's not on that map, so trust your map to be accurate. Okay, the last thing you're going to have is a clue sheet, and today everyone will have a separate clue sheet. The clues are not on the map today, and you'll have a separate paper. The clue sheet will list your points in order, number 1 through however many you have. I think most today will have about 15 points to find. So you'll list 1 through 15. The second column on your clue sheet is the code number that's going to be on the bag. So that code number is your second column. That way you got to check and make sure. You're only going to have to find 15 controls today, but there's 65 out here. So you got to make sure it's the right one by checking that number, making sure. Now these next boxes have the international symbols that give a little tip or clue about where to find the bag. If it says it's up on the hilltop, you're not going to be looking down in the creek bed for it. So how many memorized all 50 of the international symbols before they came? We knew y'all weren't going to. So we print out to the side on the white or yellow course, we print out to the side what they mean. Middle, single tree, it's printed out to the side for you. But if you're on orange course and above, all you get's the symbol. So by then you should be learning them. If you don't know them all and you're on orange course and above, you ought to see me after the class, and I got a little cheat sheet I can give you. So we use these symbols though because they're the same over the whole world. Someone who didn't speak English could come here today and still compete in our meet, just like we can go to another country. They're the same over the whole world. Okay, so a little bit about etiquette. When you get to the controls, remember it's a competition, so there's no hollering where they're at or anything like that, you know. 123 is over here, you know, everybody hears that. So that's not really fair. So no hollering out where they're at. Once you get to find the control, you verify the code, you punch in the correct square, and then you move away from that control so the next people can get in there. If you're on we have 2 things going on today. One's the competition, and then we also have some people that are just recreational. And they're just ones that like to come out, not really going for speed, but more like just finding them all, just accomplishment of finding the control locations. If you're a recreational runner and you see somebody who's running, please let them get their punch and get going, because this is a competition. Okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about is looking like a pro. Now you're going to have your map, and you're going to put your map in a map bag. Some of y'all put your punch card in your map bag, clue sheet maybe. We can always tell a beginner orienteer because they have a big old flappy map out there. If you have your map open like this and you're walking around navigating, everyone's going to know you're a beginner. So what you want to do is take your map and fold it so that only the part you're using is the square that you're showing. I fold and unfold my map maybe 10 or 12 times on my course. Just folding a square of the part that I'm on at that time. It's a lot quicker, and you'll notice, and you'll look like a pro. Also, you can do thumbing, which you put your thumb where you're at, and then as you move along your course, you move your thumb. It's called thumbing. It helps you guide for your eye. Okay, well, thank y'all for coming. I do the whole class again, and I tell the same jokes and everything, and I'm going to do it again in just a minute. So if you came late to the class, hang around, and I'm going to start all over again. Thank y'all for coming. And have